I would like to welcome all of you to this session of the QPP office hours. Today's call will be assisted. By default, everyone's phones are currently muted to avoid background noise. Since this is an open office hour call, there will be opportunity to ask questions over the phone, at which time our operator, Daryl, will provide instructions. We will also be closely monitoring the chat box and encourage you to post questions or comments throughout the presentation. Please note that the information that we provide during the session is based on the latest information made available by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, and is subject to change. CMS policies change, so we encourage you to review specific statutes and regulations that may apply to you for interpretations and updates. Also, I'd like to mention that during the office hours, we typically can address a broad range of questions, which are based on the equally broad range of the QP mixed knowledge level of our call participants. Some questions we will be able to answer very quickly. Others may require some additional time to research due to the complexity of the questions. And some scenarios are specific to your organization. So we will get back to you on those, and somebody from your state will get back to you. Questions that our team deems broad and applicable to all of our audience will be emailed to participants within 2 weeks of this event. Those that are scenario specific, our team will address directly with the attendees via email or phone. Finally, questions that require more research or those that appear frequently will be addressed at the next office hours. So at this time, I have a few slides to review, and then we'll move right into the Q&A. So just the first slide here is just kind of an overview of our organization and our disclaimer that I've already kind of covered in my intro. And we are Metastar in Wisconsin, Empro in Michigan, Stratus Health in Minnesota, and we collaborate to improve healthcare to Medicare consumers. We share best practices and maximize efficiencies. So today what we're going to do is do a real brief review the need for the Enterprise Identity Management or EIDM account, describe new versus established EIDM accounts, we'll list a few resources available for successful reporting, summarize important deadlines, and provide opportunity for question and answers. So some submission reminders. The EIDM account is required for submitting data to the CMS web portal. If you are a practice that previously reported to the PQRS or Physician Quality Reporting System, you will already have an account and use those same credentials to report for the Quality Payment Program. And I'd encourage people to go in and make sure that their credentials are working at this time. It's really important that you have this EIDM account set up. If you call us on the 30th and don't have that set up, it may really be very difficult for us to help you report to the Quality Payment Program. So practices that previously reported will have the same credentials. New users, when you go in to sign up, are going to be using the blue new user registration on the portal page, and then signing up. If you have not already done so, as I said before, please make sure that you can get in there and report for the Quality Payment Program. If there's any problems with your credentials that need resetting, we're finding that people are waiting a couple of days for that to actually happen by CMS. So don't delay on that. So once you have the EIDM account set up, you'll be going to the Quality Payment Program website. And on the slide, you'll see that there's a button on the side to sign in. You'll be signing in and you'll be using your EIDM credentials to sign in. So what should you do today? Try to sign into the portal today if you haven't already reported. Visit the CMS Enterprise portal to create an account if you haven't done that. If you have problems with that, you should call the help desk, and I put the number here on the slide to have them help you with that piece of it. Don't leave this till the end of the month. Like I said before, I mean, I know I'm kind of saying it a couple of times, but it is really just that important. Don't leave this, because if you don't have your EIDM account secure, we can't do a whole lot to help you. We don't have access to that back end of that system to really assist you. So reporting for 2017, just a few things on the some of the deadlines. Those of you who are reporting to MIPS that have not or are not participating in the CMS web interface have until March 31st, 2018 to report. Anybody who's using the web interface, it's tomorrow is the deadline at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and that date also applies to any of the alternative payment model entities that need to report. You access the reporting portal as soon as possible to ensure you're able to log in. Again, I put that don't wait till the last minute as a reminder. We do have a few resources and tools to call to your attention here, and the links are on this slide. I don't know if anybody, maybe Holly or Reed, if you want to put these in the chat for everybody so they can grab those in the chat as well. Obviously, our website, the Lake Superior Twins website link is there. And we did develop a quality payment program, or there is a quality payment program year 2 fact sheet out there just for year 2. And we've also just recently, under the resources on the LSQIN website, put a quick start guide to getting that EIDM account. If you've been out to the CMS website, there is a 52-page document, but we've kind of boiled that down to about 3 pages. So you'll want to maybe take a look at that if you haven't done your EIDM account. So if you have problems and need assistance with any of the reporting, in Michigan, there's a help desk set up, and the email address is on the slide. Minnesota also, and also here in Wisconsin, we have a help desk set up. And our individual email addresses are here in the states. So with that, Daryl, I'm going to open it up for questions and answers. If you want to give people, Daryl, if you want to instruct folks how to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please press star and 1 on your touch-tone phone. If you wish to be removed from the queue, please press the pound sign or the hash key. There will be a delay before the first question is announced. If you are using a speakerphone, you may need to pick up the handset first before pressing the numbers. Once again, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your touch-tone phone. And I'm standing by for questions. And we have a question from Randy Terry. You can go ahead with your question.
I have a few questions. My first question is, they changed the requirements for 2018 who qualifies and who doesn't, and we're wondering when that's going to be released.
What we're understanding with as far as the lookup tool where you would look up to see if somebody is qualified, that will not be changed until after April, after the deadline for reporting for 2017. We're hearing spring. Could be later than that to actually see that change. We will let you know as soon as they do update that. Reed or Holly, do you have anything to add on there?
No, you got that all updated.
Okay, another question.
Okay.
Audits. When you tested Meaningful Use, you gave them an email address where you were notified if there was an audit or any communication from CMS. There is no capability right now to enter email addresses and notify, for them to notify you if there was an issue or anything. How do providers get notified if there's an issue?
I'll field that one. This is Reed Haas at Stratus Health. So we don't have any specific guidance from CMS yet as to what that audit program will look like. What they did publish was some data validation Excel spreadsheets, which we've integrated into a tool with also a few tabs. It's an Excel spreadsheet, has some guidance on doing screenshots and such. What they haven't announced, like you're probably referring back to under meaningful use, there was Figliozzi and Company that did these audits, but they haven't said what that will look like. What they have shared back last year was that there was some kind of congressional level discussion about compliance and fraud and abuse to the meaningful use program, which will carry over to the MIPS program. So we know that it's in the offing, it's been considered, but they haven't said how that audit program will function specifically.
Okay, can I ask one more?
Sure.
We belong to an ACO, but it's not an advanced APM. And our providers, not all of our providers show up because they work in rural health clinics, and in some cases some of them are pediatricians that don't know Medicare, obviously. And in one of our 10s, we have about 26 that are not showing up, and we keep asking, QPP, and we don't actually know where with that. So do we just ignore these people? Just don't submit data on their behalf? I mean, that's what kind of QPP said. Well, they're not on there. I guess you don't submit data. And I said, okay.
Are you doing a group report or individual report?
Individual. They're on a bunch of different EHRs.
Okay. And they're not, you don't have an option to even select them in your PIN? Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to do group for many different reasons, so we'll do it individual.
No, but when you go in to report, you don't see those physicians, you don't see everybody listed, so that you just talked about your pediatricians, et cetera, right?
On the QPP website, no. Obviously, on our EHR, I have all the reports ready to go.
Right.
But when I go to QPP and I log in, I look under that 10, 26, and just one practice alone are missing.
Okay. So, Reed or Holly, maybe help me out here, but my understanding would be that those clinicians that you talk about with they probably don't meet the low volume threshold for the quality payment program, so they're not eligible clinicians. So on an individual level, you could leave them out.
I don't think so. Not for MIPS APMs. You're supposed to submit data on every provider in your TIN, regardless of whether they're low volume or not.
And this is Lisa, and I agree with that. Even if they're low volume, if they're doing group reporting as part of your APM, yes, they do need to be included.
But if you're doing individual, you also have to include them.
As part of your APM or for MIPS, are you asking?
Part of my QPP submission for those MIPS that are in the ACO segment.
So what kind of ACO are you in?
Track 1.
Of MSSP?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a MIPS APM. And so if you're reporting as part of, as in a MIPS APM, then you're reporting individual or group. Are you asking about quality or are you asking about ACI?
ACI.
Okay, as part of your ACI, yes, you do need to include them for your MIPS APM.
They're not listed to...
The issue, Lisa, is that they're not even listed to report.
This is Holly from Michigan. Randy, is it possible that even though they might be in PACOS, in credentials through PACOS, did they have their account information linked up in the EIDM to the tax ID number? I think we talked about this, but I just want to just check.
Well, and we could take this offline, Holly, but in some cases they're not even in chance because their rural health clinics, they submit no data. Their pediatricians, they submit nothing to Medicare.
Okay.
Nothing in there.
That's fine.
We said the QPP. Yeah, they're not in there, but you keep telling us we have to submit data. They're not in chance to be even registered to that because they don't submit anything through there. But there are many others that submit data through, but it's because they're a rural health clinic, they don't submit fee-for-service like a normal office would.
Right.
So there would be no volume, and so they're not showing up. And this is like,
But as a MIPS APM, if you're a MIPS APM, you're reporting as a group, not individual.
yeah, you can report individually.
Yeah, that, based on the final rule, you can report either individual or group, my understanding.
Yes, and their sheet even says so.
But if they're not billing to Medicare and they have no data, there's nothing to report.
Oh, no, they have data. I have ACI scores for them. ACI is not specific to Medicare, and it's not specific to billing.
No?
They're just not listed on the QPP website.
I think we just got to the heart of the matter. This is Reed Causa, Stratus. You mentioned they're rural health center REC, and they're not billing Medicare Part B. So that's kind of the focus of the program. So there's nothing to do. There's no action to take. They're not impacted by this program.
Oh, no, yeah, no, I know they're not impacted, but CMS says we still have to submit their data. Every individual
submission, but you said you're doing individual. So in that case, there's nothing to report. They're not participating in Medicare. What was the source of, the source of the information? Was that coming from CMS, or where did you get that guidance?
About 10 different webinars that they put on, and also from our ACO.
Okay. I'd say just to get some confidence for you on this, let's make this one offline, and we'll recontact CMS on your behalf. And Holly, I don't know, do you want to field that? It sounds like you've worked with
Yeah.
Okay.
And Holly, I think you have that ticket number.
Okay, I will see what we can do to reopen that.
And I'm not sure any more time. I'm sorry.
No, it's a good question.
No worries, that's a good question.
Yeah, the core of the matter is if you're not billing Medicare Part B, you're not impacted by the program, and that's why they're not showing up.
Great.
But half of them are. That's the thing. Half of them are showing up, and half of them are not. But anyway, take it up now.
Sure.
Oh.
And once again, if anyone has a question, you can press star then 1 on your touch-tone phone. And we have a question from Don. Don, you can go ahead with your question.
Hi, this is Don Wagner with Healthies. I'm going to leave you on speakerphone so my counterpart here can hear as well. As far as what Randy was just asking about, as far as does she include providers in her attestation out that CMS does not recognize? Rudy, you mentioned you can take that offline, but we'd love to hear your response to that one as well. We're running into the same kind of questions here, so please, when you come up with a definitive answer, if you could send that up to the group or at least, I'd sure like to hear what you come up with, because we're struggling with that one as well.
I can make sure that it goes out in the summary of the call after. So Holly, once you kind of work through that with Randy, if we can maybe include it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Holly.
Here's my other question. We have been dabbling with submitting attestations for our individual providers. We're also going to do a group attestation, but we do have some individuals that we need to attest for. Question basically is, once we've entered that data and it accepts it, what do you recommend that we do, since we can't print out some sort of submission receipt with the result, what kind of screen captures or what kind of reports should we document indicating that we have successfully tested for that provider?
In what category are we talking about, Don?
Okay, macro MIPS, quality family program. When I submit my measures for ACI, quality improvement activities and all, when I upload my file, it shows that it was successfully uploaded, and it shows on the screen that we hit the score. But there's no report that you can run with that data just for your records, and there's no kind of submission receipt like we had with last year's website. the question is, what would you recommend we do to demonstrate proof that we actually did submit the data and that we have positive scores? Is it screenshots, or is there something more we could do?
I mean, you could do screenshots because the portal has no submit, so you don't receive like confirmation that you did anything. It just sits out there until the 31st when CMS is going to go and grab the data and assign, give you your scores. There's not like a receipt. I mean, you can do screenshots to help you feel a little bit more comfortable about it. Does anybody else have any suggestions to that?
This is Holly. So, I have run into that as well. And, fortunately, the QPP attestation portal doesn't have an output report that, tells you what clinicians have submitted for what categories. We can certainly take that suggestion back, to CMS. I know it doesn't help you now, but I think probably the best thing to do right now is, the screenshots, for each of the categories for the clinicians that you are attesting. I know it's it's a big workaround, but at least you would have that just in case if something, did fail along the line.
Yeah, it's just in the past experience, you just always want to have something in your back pocket that shows you actually did do it in case there's any question mark. So I was thinking screenshots for each of the three categories, at least to get the score that comes back. Just wanted to get any other thoughts.
I think that's a good idea, and also along with that, there's a little visual indicator of the trophy indicating successful uploading and completion of that. So I think when you're doing the screenshots, you're capturing that, and that's probably the best we can do at this point, I think.
I got a question for Doug, who's my audit partner on this project here. He's got a question for you about the whole group attestation.
Yeah, so it's easy to, confirm that you have all the data uploaded when you're doing the individual attestation, but when you're doing the group under your skin, or doing MSSP, we have to upload only the ACI. Just makes me a little uncomfortable that we just upload that and kind of leave the rest hanging out there.
How do we demonstrate that we've successfully submitted the group and that it covers ACI, improvement activities, and the quality?
Because some of that's going to be recorded by your ACO. Go ahead, whoever had somebody else have something to say.
Yes, this is Holly again from Michigan. So we often get that question of, how do I know if I'm reporting quality measures via claims? How do I know that, this has been submitted or my improvement activities is being covered by my ACO? Unfortunately, again, we don't have any direct feed from the website, to demonstrate that category is covered by outside entities. And we suspect what's going to happen is there will be feedback reports that will be provided a couple of months after the attestation system has closed, and it will allow clinicians to, basically review their results and make any dispute anything that might not seem accurate. And then, fortunately, again, that's not it doesn't help you now. But it's almost kind of like you have to wait until feedback reports are back. But we'll certainly take this back to CMS as well to, have some kind of confirmation on the back end, whether, they take that information into consideration for next year's attestation, but it is definitely worth mentioning.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And this is Lisa. I just want to add that every NPI, if they're associated with an ATM, they get a reference number that associates them both with every APM that they're associated with and with every TIM that they're associated with. So if your ATM is reporting, that associated number from that NPI, because CMS has that, should count that clinician's information with your report, your group report.
And once again, if anyone has a question, they can press star then 1 on their touchtone phone. And we have a question from Tricia. Tricia, you can go ahead with your question.
Hi, this is Tricia Wigger, and Mona, this is a question I know you have a ticket out for me on, but just wondering if anybody else is having the same experience where we have submitted all of our quality ACI and improvement activity information through registries and a couple different ones depending on the EMR because we have several EMRs. And when I go to the QPP website and, log in to see all of our providers, well, it only looks like our quality has been uploaded. But the registries say, no, we submitted it, so it has to be a problem on CMS's end. And I've been waiting for weeks and I still don't see anything on the QPP website indicating that they have our ACI or improvement activities, but the quality is there.
Go ahead.
I want to say, hi there. I can certainly see that being a problem. The one thing, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it not populating because I know they're still working on the back end with this program. But as long as you have confirmation from whether it's the registry or the EHR that there was a successful submission for each of the respective categories, make sure that you retain that information in case, again, if those feedback reports do come back and say you failed to submit advancing care information, then you have that confirmation for your vendor. But make sure that that confirmation clearly outlines that it is for the specific categories and potentially is it specific for individual NTIs as well.
And this is Mona, and I have submitted a question to CMS to look into this for Tricia, and as Tricia mentioned, I've not received anything back yet. But Holly, I think those are good suggestions. So if you can get something, Trish, from your vendor that says, yes, we did this, and on the date and what exactly they did.
We have some. Yeah, we'll try. I mean, I know we have it for some, but others we don't. And the vendor's just like, well, they don't have anything for us. But we'll ask a little more forcibly for something.
So we'll keep that ticket open. I checked it this morning. It is still open. So
okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, if you have a question, you can press star then 1 on your touchtone phone. And we have a question from Nicole. Nicole, you can go ahead with your question.
Hi there.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes.
So I have two things. The previous gentleman that was talking about like a timestamp or being able to see if there's a submission. The one thing that I do know is when you're uploading as far as the quality submission data, there's that export file messages button. Once you drag and drop your file and then upload it, you can click that button and it will at least give you a timestamp. And then it also says status complete. So I don't know if that helps at all, but just wanted to mention that. Because it will say brief file. Yep. So at least you have that. And then the second thing, I'm also having problems uploading, and I'm not sure if anyone else is having this issue. But when I go in and upload my quality data, I have two groups I'm testing for, and I drag and drop the file, and I hit upload, it completes it, but then it will either freeze my screen, or when I hit close, it doesn't populate my scores. So I've had a ticket in with CMS for weeks. They're still working on it, but I wasn't sure if you guys have heard of issues with that. I mean, we're 2 weeks before, the deadline, so it's kind of making me nervous.
Yeah, this is Mona from Wisconsin. I do have one other client who has gotten an error message when they tried to upload a file. And again, I put a ticket in to CMS about that. Have not heard back, and I actually sent another one today just asking where they were at with it and have not heard back.
Okay.
So I don't have an answer, but I don't think you're the only one that it's happened to.
Okay, good. Okay.
Anybody else that's on the line that's happened to?
This is Holly again from Michigan. Can I please ask what browser you're using to submit the data? Because it seems like we have success with Internet Explorer, and I've seen individuals run into issues using Firefox and Chrome. And I don't know if something had officially gone out from CMS suggesting that you should use a specific browser for overrun. Now, but I've experienced issues where, especially Firefox, there's been some significant issues where things don't appear on the screen.
I'm sorry, Nicole has dropped out of the question and answer queue. If she wants to answer, you can press star then one on your touchtone phone.
Sure, thank you.
Oh, and Nicole is back. Go ahead with your comment, Nicole.
Hi there. So I generally use Internet Explorer, which I tried, and that didn't work. I've used Chrome and Firefox, and I've also tried a whole different PC. So nothing's working for me.
Okay, thank you for that feedback.
Yeah. Gosh, it sounds like you've tried everything, Nicole.
I've tried. I mean, I've had the data. I have the HCI and the IA done, and just waiting on the quality. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have one other client that's running into that same issue.
All right. Thanks.
And once again, if anyone has a question or comment, you can press star then one on your touchtone phone. And we have no questions in our queue.
I have been checked out of the WebEx. Somebody else in there that can check the chat to see if there are any questions.
It doesn't appear that there's any questions, Mona.
Thanks, Holly.
We did upload, for those that can't see the screen, the Lake Superior Quality Innovation Network. There is a MIPS audit readiness tool. There is a link in there for our participants to take a look at, so it kind of gives you some direction on anticipated audits. And then also we have put in our Lake Superior resource page for our initiative, and then also the MIPS estimator tool that was mentioned earlier as well.
And excuse me, we do have a question from Nyla. Nyla, you can go ahead with your question.
Thank you. I have kind of a simple question. We have selected the test option to do for 2017, and I was able to submit it on the website, and it did store it. So I guess I was kind of expecting to see, are you doing, which measure are you doing? But it didn't. So it comes back as submission less than 6 measures.
Then it gave you a score? Did it give you a score? And what score did it give you?
18.1.
Okay. That's greater than 3, and the test option was a minimum of 3 points to meet the criteria for the test. So you don't really need to do anything else, but yes, it is reminding you that if you wanted to fully report, you would need to have 6 measures.
Okay, so there wasn't just a separate test submission area then?
No, there's not. Test just means that you're doing a bare minimum to meet the criteria to stay neutral. There wasn't a separate way of reporting. You report in the same manner.
Okay, super.
Anybody else have anything to say on that?
No, I think you covered that one. Thank you.
Yeah. I've worked with quite a few who are looking for some sort of just push the button for test option, and there really isn't. It's just you're reporting less data than what you would if you were fully reporting or reporting for 90 days.
Okay. Super.
All right. If anyone else has a question, you can press star then 1 on your touchtone phone. Standing by for questions. And we have no more questions.
Okay. Yeah, while we're waiting, and please ask questions. We have another almost half hour, one last about 20 minutes left today to have questions. But really, we put the link out there to the Lake Superior Quality Innovation Network website and our resource page. Our resource page does contain a lot of great information about the quality payment program. Some of it's the same information as you will find at the QPP.cms.gov website. But there's also some materials that we have put together for your assistance. So please take a look at that, and you can always call us if you have questions about things.
I wanted to add that, this is Reed at Strata South. I just put in the chat there a link. There's a few grammatical errors. I was trying to type quickly for the link to the CMS resource library. And you'll have to scroll down to data submission, and there's the fact sheet, which kind of walks through the process. And also there are 3 recorded webinars. The first one is more of an intro. But if you haven't done your submission and just want to get comfortable with the look and feel of that submission website, it walks through the entire process. So that's a good resource to look at.
And I would add that those videos are very well done, and it's step by step. If you watch that, read kind of that fact sheet, I would guess that you're going to be pretty comfortable with submitting your data.
Yep, and they also talk about even just the file upload process, what you'll see. You can talk in detail about that little trophy to indicate successfully uploading, etc. So definitely a nice resource.
And once again, if anyone has a question, you can press star then 1 on your touchtone phone. And we have no questions at this time.
Just a reminder that this is our last office hours before the submission deadline. So if you do have questions, ask them now, or if you've had any unique circumstances that you've encountered, if you've already done your reporting that you think others on the line could learn from, please share them, because this is a good forum to share best practices or other struggles you might be having.
We have a question from Don. Don, you can go ahead.
Hi, this is Don with Southeast again. Have you heard any rumblings of an extension of the attestation deadline of March 30th?
We have not. I have not heard anything, so no.
Okay. So my follow-up question would be, if this in fact is the deadline on the 30th or 31st, generally where are you expecting to have happen after that? What can we kind of see happening? I realize that they won't be able to make decisions about incentive payments or penalties until probably summer at some point, but like you talked about, are we going to receive some sort of confirmation letters indicating after the 30th that we've received information? Can you kind of walk us through what you expect to happen after March 30th?
Yeah. Holly, you kind of had a little bit of an outline there, if you want to maybe go over some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we know now, and this is very similar to the physician quality reporting system, what will happen is after you submit your data, it's going to take CMS a couple of months to aggregate your information and really just take a look at all the different reporting methodologies. And from what we expect by mid to late summer, that there would be a feedback report, or what they call an interim feedback report, that will be available to those clinicians and those attesting on behalf of clinicians. And that feedback report is going to contain information on scores very similar to what we saw with PQRS reporting and the anticipated information that was submitted. Then after that, you will have time to dispute anything that might seem out of the ordinary. So if you know you've submitted advancing care information and it's showing that there's no reported value, you'll have time to dispute that. And then by early fall, then a final decision should be made as to whether or not they accept your dispute or if, all systems go. And then at that point in time, then we expect on January 1st of 2019, then you will have, your assessment for your 2017 performance. So that's the image that they've really given us thus far, but, timelines, again, we don't have specific dates or when things will be available. Because if we do see an extension of submitting an attestation, that will bump the timeline.
All right, thank you.
Lisa, I'm going to add one more thing on that, is that as they get additional reporting quality measures, those benchmarks may change a bit based on the submissions this year. So they haven't really come right out. They have said that they could change based on what your score is now up through March 31st. So if you log in right, towards the end of March, it should be as close to what they can be at that time, but they're still going to be receiving additional submissions until through March 31st. So those submissions could impact the average scores for each of those benchmarks. I don't think it will be significantly changed, but there's that possibility.
Very good point, Lisa. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. And we have a question now from Joyce. Joyce, you can go ahead with your question.
Hi, thank you for taking my question, and it has to do with what I think it was Mona that just very nicely reviewed with regard to what happens after March 31st. You mentioned we're going to be getting feedback reports. How are they going to be, and who's going to get them, and is it going to come through that EIDM portal or QPP portal or what?
Yeah, and that was Holly that did present that.
Holly, do you know? I'm assuming that it's going to go to mailing addresses.
Yeah, I believe that is the case because before in the past you had to access like your QR/UR reports, your quality resource use reports. You had to log in using your EIDM credentials through QualityNet. So those reports potentially are going to be available, I think, through QualityNet is what they first were originally saying, but I don't know if they're going to develop, like a subset to the portal that will allow you to log in to access those reports, but I haven't heard anything of that. So I suspect it will be QualityNet is where you will need to go.
Okay. And I'm not sure how you'll be notified that they're available. The only thing, CMS doesn't necessarily have emails on everyone. It's most likely via snail mail, Holly, or what?
You know what, from what I remember with PQRS, I believe it was you are given notification by CMS that QR/UR reports or feedback reports are available. So the notification goes out just like a general notification, and then clinicians then are encouraged to log in, or their representatives are encouraged to log into QualityNet. And then that's where you access the reports. That's how it's been in the past. I've never really seen any, printed reports or anything that has been sent out regularly.
So I think that probably begs the concern that if you have not signed up for the updates on the QPP website and not receiving those updates, you'll want to do that, correct, Holly?
Yes, that is correct. And then also making sure that your contact information in your EIDM account is, correct, it's updated, because when you do set up your EIDM account, also you do plug in your phone number, and I don't suspect CMS is going to call people, but also I believe you have to put in your email address as well, so they may send out notifications that way too. But yeah, usually in the past it's just been okay, they're ready, and access QualityNet and use your credentials.
And this is Rita Stratus. To subscribe to the updates for QPP, you can just go to qpp.cms.gov, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see kind of a darker banner, and there's developer tools, resource library, help and support, and subscribe to updates link. So that's where you do that.
Thanks for that, Reed. I think that's important. And I think a lot of people have already signed up for that, but if you haven't, do that because you'll be notified of different things that are going on with the QPP that way.
There haven't been a lot of updates coming out of there, but when they do come out, they are, substantial. Mona, I do have a question that came in through chat from Janine Hansen. She did ask, where was the test submission located? And Janine, if you're on the line, I don't know if you can...
There really isn't a test submission location. You're just going to report normally. It's just you're reporting less data. There's not a functionality of reporting test.
And once again, if anyone has a question or comment, you can press star then one on your touchtone phone.
Hey, this is Lisa, and as you guys were discussing, I looked up in a couple of resources about the Advancing Care Information Reporting for MSSP, and what I'm finding on the resource library NIPS fact sheet is that Advancing Care Information for MSSP, it says, all ACO participant PINs in the ACO submit under this category according to the NIPS group reporting requirements for MSSP for Shared Savings Program, all tracked under the APM scoring standard. I did check a couple other sites, and one of the APM scoring standard for Shared Savings Program, it says according to the NIPS requirements. And another resource I checked under NIPS, according to NIPS reporting requirements. So it's not real specific, but under the fact sheet and what I've understood is that MSSP should report as a group for ACI.
And once again, if anyone has a question or comment, you can press star then one on your touchtone phone. And we have no more questions at this time. Oh, we do have a question.
Okay, all right, great.
Don, you can go ahead.
This is Alan Southeast again. Doug and I were just talking about Candy, your response there. About PIN numbers within the MSSP. Yes, we have PINs under the MSSP, but what about the individual providers that are within that ACO that are not showing up as being a member of the ACO under the CMSI? That's what we're getting kind of confused.
Oh, okay. So you're able to group report under that MSSP, but then you're trying to turn around and report for those individuals who didn't show up under your participation file, right?
Not in the participation file, but when we're reporting to MSSP under with everybody that really works at the team. However, when you go to, I can't remember the link, the CMS QP search, the majority of our providers are attributed to the ACO. However, there is a handful that come up with no data. And if CMS doesn't think they're in the ACO, then they're going to say you failed.
That's our challenge. We go into that website. It says no room for the provider, yet they're part of the ACO. What do we do? Is it not a test for them, or do we just include them as part of the overall group attestation anyway?
I would include their data and notify CMS that they're not showing up and figure out what their error is. But for sure include their data.
That's what we're going to do. That's our intention.
And in fact, I had a call with CMS about a month ago where, that was kind of the same question, where they had a group that was reporting that wasn't part of their APM, and some were part of the APM and some were not. And they said, really, that PIN only needs to report once as a group for that APM, and it will count for everyone that's associated with that PIN.
Yeah, the problem is the association. If, knowing that there are the discrepancies with the association.
And that's at the CMS level, MPES level, or, at that association level. And I really think you need to just make sure CMS is aware that there's discrepancies. And I think they know there's discrepancies, and they're still working on that. And your question about whether this will make the deadline spread out further, we hope so. If they're having this many discrepancies, even on one phone call, imagine what's happening across the country.
Exactly. Okay, thank you.
And once again, if anyone has a question or comment, you can press star then one on your touchtone phone. And we have no questions. Oh, we do have a question. Lisa, you can go ahead with your question. Lisa? It's like Lisa Lasso.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. We have a group, our TIN has both ACO and non-ACO providers in our TIN. How do we report for them? Do we report quality ACI and I? So we capture the ones who are not in our ACO, or do we just do the ACI and IA and hope that we don't have any backlash for not reporting quality for our non-ACO providers?
This is Lisa. Go ahead, Allison. Yeah. Sure. What ACO are you in, and what type?
An MSFT ACO.
Track, which track?
Track 1.
So it's a MIPS APM. So you still have to report to MIPS, even so you're not an advanced APM, so you can report to MIPS, but it's under a MIPS APM. And you still do you still can choose whether you're going to report as individuals or group for the quality categories. But under the ACI, you have to report as a group.
Yep.
Actually, you're going to have to report as a group.
So do we report our quality with it, or being that our ACO is taking care of the quality, report the quality with it? I guess we're just confused on our 40 that are not in our ACO.
If you've got to check with your ACO whether they're going to report quality for you, and they should.
All right.
So you can not use the report.
Lisa's phone and what she's asking is, what about the 40 clinicians in their TIN that are not part of the ACO? Should she also report separately for them?
Not to ACI. She can combine them with ACI.
Yeah.
With their ACI reporting.
What about
but then, if they're not part of your ACO, then you're reporting just like you are reporting to MIPS. You can choose those remaining that are not part of your ACO. You can choose to report them as a group or individually.
And that would be the same for the improvement activities. Because being part of the ACO for those ACO participants takes care of the improvement activity. But to get a score for those non-ACO participants, you would also need to attest to some improvement activities.
Yes, all categories.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And once again, if anyone has a question or comment, you can press star then 1 on your touchtone phone. Go ahead.
So we're at about 4 minutes, so I think that's probably as many questions as we can take at this time. And I would remind you that the information to contact the various people who are working in your state is contained in the presentation today. So feel free to reach out to us if you have other questions or follow-up questions. If you need to have, if you have any follow-up questions to your individual questions. And at this time, I think we could probably close the Q&A session. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. And we will be compiling the questions from today and sending them out in a summary document. You'll receive notice of that being available. And we ask you to take a moment to complete a brief evaluation. I think there's an evaluation that appears when you close out of this webinar. If you do get an evaluation, if you could please fill that out for us, we'd greatly appreciate that. With that, we will close our office hours for this. This is for this month. Our next office hours isn't until May, and we'll be getting those dates and times set out. It's usually the third Thursday of the month, and we're going to be moving those to noon starting in May, from 11:30 to noon. Anybody else who's on the line? Any of the other panelists have anything to add before we close today?
No, I think we appreciate everybody's questions, and it was a great conversation. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Again, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Daryl. You can close out.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes today's conference. Thank you for participating. You may now disconnect.